versus its actual production capacity of up to 300 million liters daily.
So ang instruction is to coordinate with every barangay so that the people will know what is the actual situation. So ang importante, hindi mag-aantay yung mga tao doon sa tankers.
Stanley Gaete, CNN Philippines.
Now on to power rates. A big increase in electricity bills looms as the Supreme Court sides with Meralco and the Energy Regulatory Commission to push through with a rate hike initially scheduled in 2013. How soon will consumers see higher charges? Our Melissa Lopez has the details.
Electric bills may go even higher in the coming weeks after Meralco won a 2013 case that allows the power distributor to collect 22.64 billion pesos from its customers. That translates to an increase of over 4 pesos per kilowatt hour. Supreme Court justices voted 6-5 in August last year to uphold the decision of the Energy Regulatory Commission or ERC for Meralco to recover what it spent on more expensive electricity in December 2013. The court published the decision only on July 1st. Meralco said then that it had to buy from costlier power sources following the shutdown of the Malampayan natural gas plant. ERC approved Meralco's request to stagger the collection in 3 months. But the groups Bayan Muna and the National Association of Electricity Consumers for Reforms or NASICOR sued Meralco and ERC before the Supreme Court. Magistrates have ruled that the ERC actually protected consumers when it allowed the 3-part collection of the higher fees, easing the strain on their pockets. But petitioners say the SC ruling was unjust and ill-timed.
Itong bagong Korte Suprema, wala ba silang nakitang kababalaghan? Bakit inaprubahan ng ERC ng ura-urada, ng mabilis pa sa alas 4, ang pinakamataas na dagdag singil ng kuryente ng Meralco? Kaya magpa-file talaga kami ng motion for reconsideration dito para matuloy ang laban.
Meralco says the increase won't be imposed on July electric bills as they await ERC guidelines. NASICOR says authorities have the option for staggered collection or offset the 22.6 billion pesos from Meralco's mandatory customer refunds now worth 40 billion pesos.
Maraming option dyan na hindi maging mabigat ito sa consumers. But of course, hindi natin kalilimutan na hindi naman agad natin tinatanggap yung decision ng Supreme Court. It's sad that it comes at a time when people are suffering from high cost of prices, not only of the fuel but also of electricity bills and other prime commodities.
In her dissenting opinion, Supreme Court Justice Amy Lazaro Javier says the ERC was, in her words, unreasonable for letting Meralco dictate power rates without public consultation. Melissa Lopez, CNN Philippines.
The air transport sector is optimistic about the new leadership in the Transportation Department. Airlines are looking at improvements in airport facilities as they try to provide low-cost flights to the public amid a number of challenges. Our George Quiles has that story.
Still reeling from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, the airline industry now face more problems, rising fuel cost and a weakening peso. But slowly, airlines are recovering, targeting to return to 100% pre-pandemic operations in the coming months.
We pay for fuel in dollars. The aircraft are paid for in dollars. Most of our maintenance expenses are in dollars. No? So we have that imbalance at the moment. And a weakening peso is certainly not ideal for us. We do need the international network to ramp up, and I think just as a matter of managing yung liquidity namin, we're holding on to a larger proportion of our cash in dollars at the moment.
The airline fuel surcharge is now at level 11, which means additional costs for passengers. That's 355 to 1,038 pesos for domestic flights and 1,172 to 8,714 pesos for international flights. Despite these problems, airlines vow to continue offering lower fares through promos. Cebu Pacific claims its fares this July are still lower by 9% compared to its July 2019 fares.
We continue to guarantee offering the lowest fares. As we also continue rebuilding or restoring the flights that we are operating compared to the pre-pandemic times.
Airlines are also optimistic that the new leadership in the Transportation Department will continue supporting the industry through infrastructure projects and airport developments, which will make travel experience more convenient and safe. Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista was a longtime president of Philippine Airlines before joining the government.
Alam naman ni Secretary Bautista yung challenges and of course yung mga highlights din sa air transport industry, particularly improving our airports, runways, yung mga facilities natin sa airports. And these things, all these things po, kaisa po ang AirAsia dyan.
With COVID-19 cases rising again, airlines expressed their preparedness to ensure the safety of passengers. But they are also hoping for more streamlined and simplified requirements for traveling under a pandemic condition. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
The World Health Organization is closely watching another potential Omicron subvariant. The subvariant, unofficially called BA.2.75, has been detected in India and about 10 other countries. The WHO says not much is known about severity and impact on vaccines yet.
Too early to know if this subvariant has properties of additional immune evasion or indeed of being more clinically severe. We don't know that. Luckily, the other subvariants of Omicron have not proven to be more severe. They've all been more or less like the original Omicron. So we have to wait and see.
The WHO notes vaccines are still 80 to 85% effective against severe infection. Now, a day after reporting more infections of highly contagious subvariants, the health department points out most Omicron cases are only mild to moderate. 43 more people have tested positive for the BA.5 and 20 for the BA.2.12.1 subvariant. The DOH also confirming 7 more BA.4 cases on Tuesday. Total Omicron infections are now at over 7,900. Global headlines now. The gunman in the deadly July 4th parade in the U.S. state of Illinois has been charged with 7 counts of first-degree murder. Authorities say suspect Robert E. Cremo could face a mandatory life sentence if convicted. Cremo has been in police custody after fatally shooting 7 people in Highland Park on Monday. In China, an anonymous hacker claims to have stolen the personal information of up to 1 billion Chinese nationals in what could be one of the biggest data breaches in history. An online database collated by the Shanghai police was left unsecured since April 2021. The hacker was reportedly selling names, addresses, mobile numbers, national ID numbers, ages and birthplaces, and phone call records. Coming up on Newsnight, the finance chief clarifies an earlier statement made by President Marcos where the chief executive downplayed the latest inflation report. Rex Amicho explains live. And this K-pop girl group will finally be back in your area after almost 2 years. You're watching CNN Philippines.
SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement, gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement, ato ni Bay. SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement, gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement, ato ni Bay.
Ito ang RPN, Radio Philippines Network, DXKT 1071 sa inyong mga radyo, ang Radyo Ronda sa Davao.
Welcome back. Finance Secretary Ben Diokno clarifies President Bongbong Marcos' statement on the inflation report for June. Inflation is the rate in which prices of goods and services rise. Our correspondent Rex Remigio reports to us live from Malacanang in Manila. Rex, what did Diokno say about the President's remarks?
Well, Diokno is saying that President Marcos's remark about inflation was just misunderstood. He is explaining that President Marcos was referring to the full year inflation, and the average inflation rate from January to June is at 4.4%. The Finance Secretary explains that's what the President was thinking about when he was asked for his reaction on the reported 6.1% inflation rate for June. The economic team, meanwhile, also revealed its economic outlook and plans to temper rising prices. This includes continuing the 6,500 peso fuel subsidy for public transport drivers and operators. The former Bangko Sentral governor says other countries are also experiencing high inflation now. Another strategy to contain prices is to continue importing goods that the country lacks. President Marcos said yesterday that he wants to import more pork and chicken as demand rises. Diokno cited Bangko Sentral forecasting inflation rate to hover at 5% for the rest of the year. This will go down to 4.2% by next year and 3.3% at 2024. That's within the government's target range of 2 to 4% inflation rate. The BSP is also projecting the economy to grow by 6.5 to 7.5% for this year and 6.5 to 8% for 2024. This could be the highest economic growth rate in Southeast Asia, including Japan, South Korea, and China. They are also aiming to lower the poverty incidence rate to just 9% by the time President Marcos steps down from office. It was pegged at 23.7% last year, mainly due to the pandemic. Diokno is also saying that the public should expect more economic plans and programs from President Marcos that he will announce during his State of the Nation address before July ends. Back to you, Pia.
Rex, what did the palace say about this proposal by lawmaker to change the name of the NAIA, the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, to the Ferdinand E. Marcos International Airport?
No comment. Press Secretary Trixie Angeles is saying that the bill was not filed by Malacanang anyway. Let's listen in.
Filed. After all, wala pang first reading. So any reaction would be premature, if any is even warranted at this time.
Negros Oriental Congressman Arnulfo Teves is saying that it's high time to replace the name of NAIA since the Manila International Airport was built during the time of the late Ferdinand E. Marcos. But critics are saying that the premise of the bill was wrong since it was already finished a decade before the elder Marcos assumes the presidency. Back to you, Pia.
Rex and Remigio there reporting. Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo sits down with Chinese State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi to discuss the way forward for Philippine-China ties. Tristan Nadalo gives us a rundown of what transpired in that meeting.
China is confident that the Philippine-China relations will prosper and will reach a golden era under the administration of President Bongbong Marcos. In his bilateral meeting with Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo, Chinese State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi says that he is hopeful that President Marcos will stay true to its commitment of having a friendly policy towards Beijing. Wang also recalled Marcos's statement calling Beijing our strongest partner in terms of economic recovery. The Chinese official arrived at the Foreign Affairs Department Wednesday morning where he was personally welcomed by DFA Secretary Manalo. After signing the DFA guest book, Manalo and Wang held a bilateral meeting.
Our countries and region has become more complex as political, economic, and socio-cultural landscapes continually shifts. China has been a good friend and close partner of the Philippines in our recovery efforts, and we have stood shoulder to shoulder in times of great difficulty, helping one another so that we may both bring progress to our people and nations. Go do that.
After President Marcos was elected, the China-Philippine relations has turned a new page. We appreciate Marcos's commitment to his friendly policy towards China, and we expect highly of these recent statements that sent positive signals to the outside world. I am confident that we can open up a golden era for our bilateral relations.
After the meeting, the two officials led the ceremonial turnover of the Davao City Samul Bridge project funded by the Chinese government and a flagship project under the Build, Build, Build program of the Duterte administration. An agreement was also signed between the Philippine Stock Exchange and Bank of China to provide easier access to potential investors and establish a Philippine-China trading link. In a previous statement, President Marcos said the relations between Beijing and Manila should go beyond the issue on the West Philippine Sea.
We have many proposals to them in the sense that, as I said, we would like for us to increase the scope. Let's do other things too, and that way it will normalize our relationship.
There were no mentions on how the two countries will solve the dispute in the South China Sea and if whether or not the Philippines and China will enter another round of discussion on possible joint oil and gas exploration in the West Philippine Sea. Tristan Odalo, CNN Philippines.
Well, President Marcos met with Wang, but details on the exchange have yet to be released. The Chinese foreign minister also had a separate meeting with Vice President Sara Duterte. Another batch of Marcos appointees took their oath Tuesday. Marcos's second cousin, Jose Manuel Babe Romualdez, stays as the country's ambassador to the United States. Romualdez was appointed to the post by former President Duterte in 2017. Veteran actor Tirso Cruz III is the new chairperson of the Film Development Council of the Philippines, while actor Johnny Revilla was reappointed as board member of the Movie and Television Review and Classification Board, or MTRCB. Mark Lapid, meanwhile, stays as the Chief Operating Officer of the Tourism Infrastructure and Enterprise Zone Authority. Other appointees who were sworn in yesterday are now flashed, their names and faces now flashed on your screens. Social Welfare Secretary Erwin Tulfo extends the term of 19,000 contractual service workers in the agency until December. Tulfo says some of these workers were only supposed to be with the DSWD until this month. The new secretary notes President Marcos is against cutting back on the government's workforce.
Ang sinasabi niya lang, ma'am, look other ways or means. Kung may mga savings, then we continue to not fire people. Rather, wag naman tayo mag-hire.
The Senate supermajority takes more shape ahead of the opening of the 19th Congress on July 25th. Senator Mig Zubiri, who is poised to become Senate President, met several of his colleagues today. These include Lauren Legarda, Win Gatchalian, Robin Padilla, JV Ejercito, and Jinggoy Estrada. Just yesterday, Zubiri had lunch with Cynthia Villar's bloc.
It's safe to say na we have solidified the supermajority of the Senate. Hindi magiging rubber stamp ang Senado.
Zubiri says Senator Francis Tolentino will be chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee. Senator Alan Peter Cayetano earlier said he will join majority only if he becomes the Blue Ribbon chairman. Zubiri plans to meet with the Cayetano siblings, Alan and Pia, this week to convince them to be part of the super majority. Senator Amy Marcos could soon chair 4 committees, including foreign relations, cooperatives, social justice, and electoral reforms. That is the most number of committee chairmanships granted to any senator in the 19th Congress. Meanwhile, several senators are against the new proposal at the House of Representatives, which seeks to extend the terms of the President and Vice President.
The first year of our Congress, 19th Congress, I think ang usapin natin should revolve around paano natin buhayin muli ang ekonomiya.
With this, what's happening in our country in regards to inflation, in regards to increasing prices of oil, may food security issue tayo. We should focus on these issues at hand.
Over to the House of Representatives, more than 50 first-time lawmakers complete a crash course on legislative work. Lawmakers took part in a simulated session to learn proper decorum at the plenary. They got tips on delivering privilege speeches and interjecting on the floor. when they want to raise an important matter. Ilocos Norte Representative Sandro Marcos and Quezon City Congressman P.M. Vargas absent during today's commencement rites. The presidential son was with his father during a meeting with health officials in Malacanang. More stories ahead. The phrase finally trends on Twitter after news of a long-awaited comeback from this record-breaking K-pop group. And all eyes are on this member of SB19 who performed in a digital series for the Recording Academy, which runs the Grammys.
SMC San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay. SMC San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay.
Ito ang RPN, Radio Philippines Network, DXKT 1071 sa inyong mga radyo, ang Radyo Ronda sa Davao.
Welcome back. Will it be back-to-back wins for the country in its first matches for this year's AFF Women's Championship? We're finding out very soon with a game against Singapore at the Rizal Memorial Stadium in Manila kicking off at 7 p.m. The Filipinas are coming off a stunning win over Australia on Monday. The Philippines must be the top two of Group A to make it to the semifinals. Entertainment news now. 40 beauties gunning for a Binibining Pilipinas crown gave a preview of their pasarela or pageant walks in yesterday's pre-coronation event. Pauline Versosa has the highlights.
With less than a month left before the coronation night, all 40 candidates of this year's Binibining Pilipinas took center stage for the press presentation held here in Araneta City, Cubao, Quezon City. The candidates strutted the runway wearing swimsuits designed by veteran fashion stylist Justine Aleman. They also showcased their pasarela skills before the judges composed of pageant officials, executives, and sponsors. This year's roster of candidates are loaded with talented ladies. They're artists, models, sports enthusiasts, a pilot, and other working professionals. The press presentation serves as one of the major activities ahead of the coronation night, and the candidates say they've been preparing hard to make a good impression.
I feel like I really did my best earlier and all of the hard work was really paid off. Well, to be honest, I'm a little bit nervous, but I am more excited to perform, especially on the coronation night.
Sa tinagal-tagal po namin nag-training ng pasarela, ng Q&A, konting oras lang po namin ibibigay yun sa isang stage, di ba? Kaya sobrang excited po kaming lahat. Ngayon po talagang hinahabol ko na pumayat kasi hindi na po ako nagkakanin, galing akong only rice. Ngayon, no rice.
Former beauty queens shared what they are looking for in this pool of beauty and brains. And that includes this year's judge, Precious Lara Kigaman, who was crowned Miss International in 2005.
We are looking for beautiful Filipino women who will be able talaga to inspire and empower other young women.
Grabe, hindi tayo naubusan ng magagandang Pilipina. Dahil na-interview ko na rin ang mga ilan sa kanila at talagang na-amaze ako na every year padami yung mga Filipinas na who really wanted to join and showcase, diba, the beauty and talent of Filipinas.
The candidates are in for a busy schedule in the coming days. They will don their exquisite national costumes on July 16th and participate in the Parade of Beauties on July 23rd. And finally, they will compete for the 4 crowns at stake during the Binibining Pilipinas Grand Coronation Night on July 31st at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. Pauline Versosa, CNN Philippines.
The spotlight is on a Filipino world-class talent with Philip, also known as Ken of SB19, getting featured in the Grammys online performance series Global Spin. The P-pop artist delivered a powerful performance of his solo track Bulan. Hashtag Philip on Global Spin trended following the video's release. The series hopes to show notable artists or groups to, quote, celebrate both the creators and their home countries. Here's something K-drama fans are feeling excited about. Actor Lee Jong-suk is making his TV return after 3 years. The second teaser trailer for Big Mouth dropped today, showing the crime series star-studded cast including Jong-suk and Girls' Generation member Im Yoona. The male K-drama star took a break from acting in 2019 for mandatory military service, then starred in the 2022 film The Witch Part 2, The Other One. Speaking of comebacks, the wait will soon be over for Blink's. Korean outlets quoted a statement from Blackpink's agency saying the K-pop phenomenon is dropping a new track next month, this after nearly 2 years without releasing music together. The Kill This Love Act will hold the, quote, largest world tour in history for a K-pop girl group by the end of the year. And that is it for now. Join me again on News.ph at 7 p.m. and on Politics as usual at 8. I'm Pia Hontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.